Hi, my name's Caitlin Pellerin, and I'm going to be talking today about violence towards Native American women. So what sparked my interest in learning about this topic? So, as a feminist, I've always been interested in equality and safety for women. These social issues have always been something that's super important to me. Also, in my introduction to Native American literature class, we read the novel There by Tommy Orange, and one of the characters, her name's Blue, she was a victim of domestic abuse at the hands of her husband. She was able to escape and start a new life in Oakland, but unfortunately this is not the case for many Native American women. So, in the novel, There is a novel by Tommy Orange. It was published in 2018. Tommy Orange is a Cheyenne and Arapaho author. It's a fiction novel that follows the story of 12 Native American characters and their experiences leading up to and during the Oakland powwow. So I chose a quote from one of Blue's chapters, and it says, "But after Paul's dad died, everything I'd been praying about all that time got turned upside down and emptied on top of me in the form of Paul's fists. After the first time and the second, after I stopped counting, I stayed and kept staying. I slept in the same bed with him, got up for work every morning like it was nothing. I'd been gone since that first time he laid hands on me," which is from page 198 of the book. So, this idea of violence against Native American women really is discussed in this chapter. It's also discussed in chapters for Jackie Redfeather and Opal, because Jackie Redfeather is Blue's mom and Blue is a child of rape. Jackie was raped, and that's how Blue came to be. So it's discussed a bit in those chapters too, but Blue's chapter really focuses in on it. So her husband Paul abuses her, and eventually she's able to escape and run away to Oakland. Her coworker Geraldine helps. She brings her to the bus station and tells Paul that she's with her. And a kind woman at the bus station also is able to help Blue. So, like I said, she's definitely one of the lucky ones. She's able to escape, but many Native American women aren't lucky and they aren't able to escape. So, missing and murdered Indigenous women. This is a big issue in America. Indigenous women are murdered at a rate which is 10 times greater than any other ethnicity. Indigenous women are twice as likely to get raped than an Anglo-American white woman. More than 4 out of 5 Indigenous women have experienced violence, so 84.3%, and murder is the third leading cause of death for Indigenous women. This image on the slide shows some of these statistics. So 84.3% of Native women have experienced violence in their life. 56.1% of Native women have experienced sexual violence. 55.5% of Native women have experienced physical violence by a partner, and 48.8% of Native women have been a victim of stalking, which these are all very unfortunate. So 78% of Native Americans do not live on reservations, and 60% of those live in urban areas. So when a woman or anyone goes missing on a reservation, the whole community and the tribe will come together to search for that person. But because only 22% of Native Americans live on reservations, there's not that sense of community that goes searching for them when they go missing. Also, Native stereotypes contribute to how the authorities don't take the cases seriously and they do little to find the missing women. Some of these Native stereotypes are that Native Americans are lazy, they're drug addicts, and they're alcoholics who rely on the government to survive. A colonial stereotype was that Native Americans were dirty because they didn't have clothes, so that made the women rapeable, in their words, which is obviously disgusting. But all these stereotypes contribute to why there is not so much being done to help. And in 2020, the National Crime Information Center reported 5,295 records for missing American Indian girls and women. Then there's also something called the REDress Project. It's an art installation by Jamie Black, a Métis artist from Winnipeg, Canada. It represents the missing and murdered Indigenous women. So in talking about why she chose the color red for this project, she says that red symbolizes lifeblood and the connection between everyone. And it's also symbolizing the violence towards these women. And it brings awareness. For a lot of people, seeing this installation is the first they're hearing about the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women. A lot of the dresses have been donated by families of women that have fallen victim to this. And this art project allows for families to find some minuscule sort of closure, and it allows them to grieve. And it's doing a great job at bringing awareness to the issue. Now, if you would like to learn more about the issue of Native American women and the violence they face and missing and murdered Indigenous women, these sources are really great. They talk about understanding the issues and have lots of statistics. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something.